On a cloudy, snow-covered, icy cold, never go to school again, Tuesday morning in Northeast Ohio. Welcome on into the Bullpen. It's a Bull and Fox edition, as always, on Tuesday mornings just after 9 a.m. I'm Adam the Bull. He's Dustin Fox. We are both wearing hats today. That might be a first. I mean, you've
never worn a hat. I wear a hat probably 99% of the time.
Yeah. I almost never wear a hat, and this is the second show I've done in the last few days because I wore a hat for a Guardian show I did over the weekend, too.
What's going on with your hair?
It's just a mess. I'm going for a haircut at the end of the week.
Have you been lazy with your haircuts?
Not really. Well, I pushed it back. Well, Aaron needs a haircut. Like, his hair is crazy right now. So I had a haircut scheduled for last week, but I couldn't get Aaron a haircut till this week, so I figured it'd just be easier for the two of us to go together. So I postponed my haircut a week. But it was a mistake. Plus, to be totally honest, I had a weird morning, and I didn't get a chance to shower yet. So I don't like to do a show without showering. I will shower between this show and UCSS for those who are interested in such things. I don't know why you would be, but I keep it real here. So there you go.
You know what I did this morning?
So that's what my hair is. Didn't play tennis.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
You just said you were snowed in. What?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying we're all snowed in.
Yeah.
Quote unquote snowed in. I actually have hasn't affected my life one bit. I've left the house every day. But this morning I was so cold. I woke up at my wife now has to be at work at 5 a.m. in Canton. So she got up at 4:20
a.m.
and that's when the workday starts for her. They worked 4:10s. So she left the house at 4:20, kisses me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get to go back to sleep for an hour. So I went back to sleep for an hour. I got up at 5:20, and I was so cold. You know, I did, and I'm like, man, I just felt like crap. I was like, your back, you're just kind of cracking and all these knots and everything. So I took a hot bath at 5:30 this morning.
Oh my God,
dude!
I mean, you're officially old now.
It was amazing. And then I went and played tennis for I got off the court 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
so anyway, why'd you have to ask that?
That's a natural question to ask when you just played in a sporting event.
It's a sore subject this morning because
you lost.
But it was an unfortunate set of circumstances at the end that I got in my head. Tennis is such a mental game, man.
Controversy? Was there controversy?
No, there wasn't. My buddy,
you beat yourself, is what you're saying.
My buddy's a good player. We're both about the exact same level, and we have battles, man. And some days he just gets in my head, and today was one of those days.
All right, the Browns are in their own head also.
They are too. I think they're in everybody's head.
The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski, 3 weeks ago? 22 days ago, I believe. Yeah.
Only the Browns.
And here we are. The Browns are one of 4 teams remaining without a head coach, which by itself is not the end of the world.
It's not. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Browns will not be able to sell any of us on the idea that who they hire was their first choice.
Unless it ends up being Nate Scheelhaase still. I'll buy that.
How? Because why? Because he was still playing?
Yes, and because the buzz is that they really liked him all along. And there were unlike their other candidates remaining, there are other teams interested in Nate Scheelhaase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? He wasn't going to take a job before this week. So, but certainly if they end up with...
if I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Welcome to my world. So when Scheelhaase now, is he going to interview with the Bills?
I believe he did last night.
Okay. So if he takes the Bills job, then you're definitely not getting a candidate you can sell as your first guy.
That's correct. Now, it is what it is. They'll try to. Some fans will come up with excuses to convince themselves of it. But especially if it's Jim Schwartz, which, both Diana Rossini and Mary Kay both yesterday said, okay, things are starting to trend towards Jim Schwartz. There's no way you can convince anybody that Jim Schwartz was the first choice. You've had him in the building for 3 years. You know the guy. You've interviewed him twice for this job. If he was the first candidate all along, you would have hired him 3 weeks ago. Or at least 2 weeks ago.
Or you fire Stefanski in December and let him take over interim and then
exactly. You could have done that if you were leaning in that direction. So there's no way, like this idea that, well, we weren't going to hire, maybe he wasn't our top choice at first, but he blew us away in the interview. Like, yeah, no, nobody's buying that. I don't think. No. Now, whatever the Browns.
You're right there, buddy. You dying?
Yeah. No, hopefully not. Whatever they end up doing, listen, you got to give it a chance. Even if it wasn't their first choice, maybe it ends up working. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed if this ends. And the funny thing is at this point, only Nate Scheelhaase is going to make people happy, and we have no clue if he's any good as a head coach. He's never been a head coach. We don't know. But at this point, because he's from the McVay tree, because he's actually in demand from other teams, or at least other teams are interested, that will feel like a win. Anything else but is going to feel like a loss. Doesn't mean it is, but it will feel that way, I think.
Well, honestly, man, at this point, doesn't everything sort of feel like a loss? And whether it's all true, what we're hearing, it feels like everyone's laughing at the Browns right now. Every network I turn on, whether it be the radio or on TV, it's like we're just the butt of jokes.
Yeah. It's hard, and it's hard to change that. And the only thing that could change that is if you get it right at coach, and more importantly, get it right at quarterback.
You guys talked about this, I'm sure, yesterday. I was not on UCSS yesterday, but I will be today from home.
Yeah.
And this report by Pelissero that they're, making these guys do all these personality tests and things, like writing an essay. Is that real? Is that happening?
Yeah. I mean, everybody assumes it's happening. You know what's funny is we did talk about it yesterday. G. Bush, Jason Lloyd, and Mike all made it seem like it was no big deal, that it wasn't a negative. I don't think it's a huge deal, like the end of the world, but I do think if the Browns are the only team doing it, then there's something odd about it. Now, Jason's answer was, well, the first time they did this process, Sean McDermott was the choice, and Jimmy overruled them for Hugh Jackson. And then it was Kevin Stefanski, so it did lead to two, at least in Jason's mind, two good coaches. I don't completely buy that, but it's to me it's very odd. If the Browns are doing something different than the other 31 teams, and the Browns are the team that's one of the worst in football, maybe they should change the process. Now, again, their argument was, well, I'm sure for John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin, you're not doing these things. You're not asking those guys to write a paragraph or a essay, but you're just doing it for the younger guys. But my bigger problem than that, Dustin, is, and I've said this all along, and people poo-pooed this, and I'm curious your take. So when we heard that the Browns were really pushing to have Jim Schwartz stay as the defensive coordinator, I had a problem with that. I said, listen, if you hire a young coach and he wants Jim Schwartz to be his DC, and Jim Schwartz is good with that, then that's great, because Jim Schwartz has done a good job. But I hate the idea of forcing a head coach to hire someone that's not like you got to hire people and then let them do their job. To me, part of hiring a head coach, if you trust him, is allowing him to pick his own assistant coaches. I think that's how things work best. And if you're forcing Jim Schwartz on a young coach, even if Jim Schwartz is a good coach, which we know he is, I still think that's bad, especially when your job is one of the worst on the market. So there's a report, who knows if this is true, you never know for sure, but there's a report that Grant Udinski dropped out of this because he had a DC that he wanted to bring in, and they were unwilling to do that. Supposedly Nate Scheelhaase has somebody. Maybe he's not as adamant about it as Udinski. Again, this is reporting. I don't know if that's 100% true. But I just think the Browns do things differently than other teams, and usually they're wrong about it when they do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. In life, if you're doing something the opposite of everybody else and it's not working, don't you sort of look yourself in the mirror? I'm asking you.
Yeah, I mean, sure. If I was doing something and I kept failing at it, and everybody else was doing it a different way,
to look yourself in the mirror and say, maybe our process is messed up.
Yeah.
Like maybe we need to look in the mirror a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And another thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, another thing with now again, there's still 3 other teams, the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Bills, who are looking for coaches. The Bills process has been interesting because they've looked at some, obviously Udinski and Scheelhaase as well, which would seem like odd fits for a team that's Super Bowl ready in theory with a Super Bowl quarterback.
I have no faith in them.
In what? The Bills? Because Pakula's crazy?
I have no faith in them getting, like, their process is whatever it is. My only faith is in 17.
I mean, Yeah, it's weird.
It.
I mean, the fact that they were interviewing Phillip Rivers just seems, I get it. Phillip Rivers is a great player. He's never coached above high school, and he just retired. This is not, like, I know that happens in baseball sometimes, that guys go straight from playing to being a manager. Every once in a while that happens. We've seen it twice, once with the Cardinals, once with the Cubs in recent years. It hasn't really worked it didn't really work for either of those teams.
Isn't our manager, didn't he go straight from play?
Yeah, pretty close. It has worked for him. Now, he was an assistant coach for maybe only 1 year.
It wasn't long.
Yeah. But he was a coach for 1 year. It's a good call. Wasn't directly, now Phillip Rivers had been a high school coach.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be looking at him. I mean, we need to be looking at somebody. I think like Dable makes a lot of sense for the Bills, but
for the Bills. You know who? Yeah. I mean, the Browns are probably going, we're kind of ignoring Anthony Lynn. They spoke to Anthony Lynn over the weekend.
With the Browns?
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Lynn had more success with the Chargers than Jim Schwartz did with Detroit. Anthony Lynn was a 500 coach. That's not great, but Jim Schwartz was like a under 400 winning percentage.
Yeah, I mean, Lynn is one that when they interviewed him, it seemed like it was like the token Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
But he's a really good coach.
Yeah, and I don't think
so. My thought is like maybe they could stumble into it just because they had to fulfill it. Well, all of a sudden maybe they'd be like, this guy's got something.
And I don't think Andrew Berry would just interview a guy if he thought he had zero chance of getting the job. I mean, I just don't buy that. But I mean, there was a lot of talk last week about satisfying the Rooney Rule. They have. One guy I'm surprised hasn't gotten more buzz because when he played, everybody talked about him being a coach, and this is kind of like a Stephen Vogt type of example, a guy who's been an assistant coach for a few years, but not a long time. He hasn't retired that long ago. Josh McCown. I'm surprised his name hasn't created any buzz at all.
Is he Minnesota?
I think so. You know what? Now I can't remember.
I think he was at one point.
I think. Remember Thad Lewis?
Yeah.
I think he got a job, or may get a job as an offensive coordinator.
McCown is the quarterback coach for the Vikings.
Okay, good call. There you go. How long has he been an assistant coach at this point?
An assistant coach? He's been since
3 years.
23.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's only been a quarterback's coach. And maybe the way things went with Minnesota's quarterback situation this year.
To be fair, since 2002, the guy's basically been an offensive coordinator.
I mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're playing quarterback mostly in a backup role, but for the most part, you're in it. I mean, he was in it at the start of the 2000s to 2026. He has seen it all.
He played. I want to say he was part of 12 different NFL organizations. Some of them just on the practice squad, but he's just been. I mean, include his coaching career, he's been, I think, part of 14. Cardinals, Lions, Raiders, Dolphins, Panthers. That's
11.
5.
11, right?
Niners, Bears, Buccaneers is 8. Browns, Jets, Eagles, 11. Texans, 12. Including practice squad, he played for 12 teams, and he coached with Carolina where he played, and he coached with Minnesota where he didn't play. So he's been part of at least practice squad player or coach with 13 of the 32 NFL teams. So anyway.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah. All right, let's get some comments.
Why don't the Browns interview him?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'd be all right with that.
Maybe because of, maybe people being prisoner of the moment because the Minnesota quarterback situation was a disaster this year. Who knows?
Is that his fault?
Probably not. But it is what it is. Sammy Hill with the Bull and Fox emojis. Z says Bull should go full mullet. Yeah, I don't think that would work for me. B. Skrills, good morning, fellas. I know that the feeling I start work at 6 a.m. Oof. I only worked that early once. One of my early jobs in radio at Utica, for a brief time, I was doing a morning show. And it was awful because I was younger, and so in those days I would stay up later. Now I would have no problem doing a morning show, but in those days, in my early 30s, and doing a morning show by myself, that's the worst. The worst.
How that would be an impossible task.
And in Utica, there was probably 200 people listening to me.
And I bet you're not having a lot of commercial breaks.
No, definitely not. Oh, man. Patrol or Patriot brand morning fellas. Unfortunately, it's sounding like Schwartz will be the coach.
And it might work out, man. Because we're not saying they're not getting their top guy, because they could have hired Schwartz from day one, and we'd be like, okay, they got their guy. That's who they wanted the entire time. And now whoever they hire now, if it's not Scheelhaase, will feel like you're settling.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? Settling doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means you're going into it with probably the wrong motives.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Gondor Sanitation Department says, let's just get to the Browns, the organization with the worst owner. We are so cooked until someday we get a decent owner. B. Skrill says, at this point, Ken Carman could be the coach of the Browns. Speaking of Ken Carman, I texted Ken and Lima, Dustin.
Okay.
I don't remember when this was. It was probably Friday. But both of them were off. And Daryl and what's the kid's name who was filling in with him? I can't remember. I can't think of his name. I've met him before.
Padone?
Oh, Nick, yeah. I don't really know him well, but I've met him.
I don't really know him other than I've met him maybe in passing a few times.
So he said something he said something on their show that I thought was really stupid. And so I texted Ken and Lima to bust their chops. I said, that's on you, man. You get credit for that. And I didn't hear back from either of them. How rude is that?
When did you text them?
Friday at 7:02 p.m.
It's not an ideal time to text somebody.
Whatever. I only hear from Lima when he wants to complain about Ken.
You texted them at 7 o'clock at night about something that happened that morning?
I didn't hear about it until that night, But that's what the only time I hear from Lima is when he calls me to complain about Ken or to complain about the station.
Ken did text me 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, because
wow.
I made a funny comment on UCSS about him pandering.
Yeah, right. I remember.
Were you there when I said that?
Yeah.
And he texted me 2 days after the fact and was like, he was making fun of himself and kind of saying he is a panderer.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't believe it took you this long for it to get back to you, because most times the Ken Carmanites will send him the bat signal, essentially.
Right. As I'm sure they will now with this conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very rude that the two of them did not text me back. All right. Let's see. Orange and Brown City, love the show. Thanks, Orange and Brown City. Mark Jones says it's a shame perhaps that – what's that? Mark Jones. It's a shame perhaps the head coaching job in Cleveland is not appealing. I really do believe they should give it to Jim. The defensive players love him. I believe some of the offensive players do also. He believes. Sammy Hill, maybe Schwartz whipped up a Pulitzer-worthy essay that made Berry weak in the knees. That's good. That's a good one. Well done,
I want to know
Sammy.
more about the essays.
Yeah, I do too. Do they check grammar and spelling?
Are they handwritten? Do they give him a legal pad and say, here, write an essay?
Like Ken, again. Ken writes on his legal pads with his, what do you call it? Cursive. I couldn't even think of what it's called anymore.
He's got a calligraphy pen.
Yeah,
he has the most perfect handwriting.
No, we'd be talking about it. Can't read it.
It's beautiful, though.
It is beautiful, even though you can't read it. I'll give you that.
I can't read it. He can read it.
Now, was it, you know what? All these years later, I can't remember. Was it him that did the crackers, or was it Keith? I can't remember now.
On your
on my book where I was all pissed off.
Yeah. It was sort of everybody. But it was him.
It was him, right? I couldn't remember now.
But Keith was in, he was a bystander.
He was in cahoots.
He was in cahoots.
It was very inappropriate. I was pissed.
He was an accessory.
Yeah. Gondor Sanitation Department says Jason Lloyd is a scumbag. Damn. Jason catching strays here. Jason's not a scumbag.
Why did you read it?
Because it's funny.
All right.
Jason doesn't care. Jason Lloyd is not a scumbag. Jason Lloyd's a good dude. And he gives honest opinions. And some people would rather people kiss up and be phonies and liars instead of being honest, which Jason is.
Jason is honest, and Jason is also miserable.
And he's also the most connected reporter in Northeast Ohio, and it's not close.
Yeah. He's well-liked.
Yes.
By people, for the most part. Not by Dan Gilbert.
No. Orange and Brown City, I believe Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is well-balanced. It is. I think that's true. Jones Alex. Lynn makes sense as OC run game coordinator. He could be. That's a possibility. Jason says, if you hire a coach and allow him to pick his coaching staff and he doesn't pick JS as his DC, you pick the wrong coach. Who could they pick who is better and available? Who knows? But he may want a young coach that fits what he wants to do. I have no idea. Just because Jim Schwartz is good doesn't mean somebody else couldn't potentially be better.
Look, man, it's not really even about who they hire at this point. It's more about the process, and they look silly.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And honestly, at the end of the day, whoever they hire, I've said this from Jump Street. Like, I'm not going to be critical of the hire because I'm going to give them an opportunity to come in here and prove themselves. But are they going to be the one? Since 1999 that turns it around? We thought Stefanski was the guy.
Yeah.
And they fired him. He's the second most winningest coach since the Browns have been back, right? Or, excuse me, the second winningest, is it not all time, is it?
No.
Who's the all-time winningest coach for the Browns?
Paul Brown.
And then who's second?
Let me take a look. Rutigliano? No. Browns. I don't know. It's all 1,000 years ago. Let's see.
Paul Brown.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, I know that, but I'm wondering the
all right, so
second, third, fourth winningest coaches.
Okay. So Paul
Stefanski
Brown
is the third.
Rutigliano is third. So Blanton Collier.
Yeah.
So Paul Brown, Blanton Collier, Rutigliano, and then Stefanski, and then Marty Schottenheimer.
Yep. Stefanski is the
now it's not a high bar.
Stefanski's the winningest coach since the Browns came back in '99.
Yeah, it doesn't say much, but that is correct. Yes.
Okay, 26 years.
Yeah,
27 years.
He was here longer than anybody else since '99. Also,
true.
So honestly, if you end up with Schwartz, you might as well just have stuck with Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion. But not that I wanted him, but
I just feel like the organization just needs a cleanse. By keeping Barry and keeping Schwartz, it just sort of scapegoats Stefanski, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
It allows them to continue on with their plan and their ideas that they are the smartest people in the room and that they've cut out the cancer. Kevin Stefanski was the cancer, apparently.
Right.
Yeah, such a cancer, the Falcons hired him in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't mean they're right either, but
doesn't mean they're right.
Roger New Even says Bull's hair is the least of his problems. That's probably true.
Nice. That's not nice.
It's not nice, but it's probably true. Patrick, you guys are great. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. We got to talk about Shedeur Sanders for a minute. And the fact that he got selected for the Pro Bowl. I saw Sean Merriman comment about this yesterday. This is not specific to just Shedeur Sanders.
I saw Sean's tweet too.
We saw it with Tyler Huntley a couple of years ago. Frankly, this is embarrassing. If I were Shedeur, I would have said no.
I would decline it.
Yeah, and he didn't, obviously, because it's now the diehard Shedeur fans don't care. They want to see him. The league's doing this. It's embarrassing.
Does he get money for this? Like, is there a financial benefit for him?
Probably.
Yeah. So then I probably wouldn't turn it down.
I've already been against like judging guys based on how many Pro Bowls they're in. This is a joke. I mean, this is a joke.
Well, it's a joke that we even call it a Pro Bowl. It's not a Pro Bowl.
They should just announce the play, like they should announce the Pro Bowlers. And because there's no game, there shouldn't be any backups. You announce 3 starters at quarterback, whatever amount, like the original team, they get an honor or whatever it is. And if they can't make it to the Pro Bowl weekend, then they don't get replaced. And if you replace them just because you have events you want to do, don't call the new guys Pro Bowlers. It's a real insult. And of course, everybody's gonna take this as, you're just picking on Shedeur. And I said the same thing about remember when Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl? It's a joke. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there were times. I mean, wasn't there like one time when Andy Dalton got in and he had a terrible year?
It's
you see guys getting in this all the time now. And you're right, it's not a Pro Bowl game. It's a Pro Bowl flag football festivities.
It takes away the true honor for the guys who really deserve it.
What you're dead on, man. Like, why not just have your list? These are the Pro Bowlers, and that's it. The guys that participate in the events of the weekend, they're whatever. You call them Pro Bowl alternates. That's fine.
Yeah. Orange and Brown said
he's a sub.
Yeah, I mean
he's a Pro Bowl sub.
I mean, how many guys had to turn down this for him to become a Pro Bowler, or maybe the league just did it just to get people to watch?
Fan vote, right, for the alternates?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think it is though. He got a lot of fan votes, but to me, if I were him, I mean, I'm not obviously, but if I wouldn't want to be I'd be embarrassed. But he's.
I don't know.
In these 80s and 90s.
Did Bull freeze?
I froze?
What happened?
I don't think I froze. Anyway, am I frozen, guys? Am I unfrozen? I think I'm good. We're good. We're live. We're back. Apparently, I froze for a second.
All right, I can't hear Adam right now.
Oh, you can't hear me. Maybe it's a problem with your computer. Anyway, you know what? It's a good time for us to wrap things up. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I did freeze for a second, according to Fatal Cheeseburger. Thanks, Cleveland Scott. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Good job by Levi producing for the first time today with a hat tip to Z. Also, Alex in the mix, too. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you signed up for the Bet Rivers app. There's all kinds of great deals and stuff, so you can bet on anything. I know there's a lot of tennis betting. Dustin's obsessed with tennis. A lot of big tennis betting on Bet Rivers, but of course, all your standards, football, basketball, baseball, college football, everything, whatever you want to do, we've got you covered. So make sure you download the Bet Rivers app. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Dustin and I will be on UCSS today and tomorrow. We'll be back on the podcast Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Bull and Fox. See you, everybody.
See you.